Everybody, thanks for watching. Something weird happened this week. You might have noticed that I put some hints in there, and I don't know why, but when I saved it as a PDF, the hint to the first problem didn't show up. But it looked like a lot of you came up with a good way to start it anyway, which was to draw a picture of an isosceles triangle. And it says that the vertex angle is 108, which means you can find what the base angle is. 180 minus 108 is 72. There's two base angles left over, so I'm going to divide the 72 into two equal pieces, and you get 36 apiece. So this angle is 36 degrees, but what it says in the problem is we're going to draw in some rays that bisect that angle and a ray that bisects this one. So we're looking for where those two rays intersect and what angle they make when they intersect with each other. So I'm probably just going to draw them as line segments, actually. I'm just going to bisect that angle, bisect that one. I can put all the same markings because we know that the base angles of an isosceles triangle are congruent. So when they're bisected, the halves are congruent as well. So half of 36 is 18. And all that you have left is to deal with this little triangle here and see what angle those two rays make with each other, which is what's left over from 180. So 18 and 18 is 36. I can just do 180 minus 36, and you get 144. So those rays make a 144-degree angle when they intersect with each other. All right, let's look at the second one. There's a lot of stuff going on, but that's, I kind of reflected in the hints how you could use that information to set this one up. So angle PLM, I'm going to put an arc on it, is congruent to angle MJK. I'm going to put an arc on that one. Angle KLM is 88 degrees, which is perfect because I can just find the sup of 88. And that's 92, and I can use that for both of these angles that I just said were congruent to each other. So that was one key step. Then it says the measure of angle LPM is 28 less than the measure of angle PKJ. So the strategy that I like to use for this is if you call PKJ X, then I could just call the other one 28 minus X. And it might not look like you have enough information at this point to solve the problem, but if you look at the big triangle, we have expressions for all three angles that we can add up and make an equation because we know that the three angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So I have 92, and I have X, and I have X minus 28. And when I add up those three angles, I get 180. So X and X makes 2X. 92 minus 28 is 64. And then I'm just going to solve this quick equation. 2x equals 116, and 116 divided by 2 is 58. So that means this angle is 58. This one is 28 less than 58, which is 30. And there are other triangles in the problem that we can use as well. So 30 and 92, and then I can just see what's left over from 180. That's 122. 180 minus 122 is 58 degrees. And I could find the sup of 58 degrees to see what the measure of the angle next to it is, which is 122. And I think I officially have found everything that I needed to find in the problem. So let's move on to this last one, which is pretty similar to number 2, but there's a little bit more to it. So there's lots of congruent stuff going on. So AD and CD are congruent to each other. So that means we have congruent angles that we can put arcs on. But then also that's congruent to CB as well. So then we have another isosceles triangle also. Doesn't mean just because two triangles are isosceles and they have the same side lengths, it doesn't mean that the base angles have to be the same. So I'm going to do two different arcs there. And then also AC, which is this whole segment, is congruent to AB, which is this whole segment. which also means that this whole big triangle is isosceles as well. So this is where it starts getting difficult to mark, but it means this whole angle can also get an arc with a tick. So it seems like somewhere along the way, I'm going to need to call something X. So why don't I give it a try to call this one X and this one X. And then the one next to it is 180 minus X. And then there's a funny thing to find what's left over here for that one. Well, actually, how about I'll call this one here is also X. So if I look at this big triangle here, that top angle then would have to be 180 minus 2X, which is congruent to this one, 180 minus 2X. And then if I find one triangle where I have expressions for all the angles that I didn't already use when I started labeling this, I can solve for X. So I think the one that's going to work is this one. Let's give it a try. We have 180 minus X plus 180 minus 2X plus 180 minus 2X adds up to 180. It's a lot of 180s. Let's see, 180, 180, and 180. I think that's 540, but let me check. Yep, 540. There's minus 5x when I combine like terms equals 180. So then I'll subtract 540. 180 minus 540 is negative 360, and negative 360 divided by negative 5 is 72. So a bunch of angles have that measurement 72. We could go through and find all the angles in the picture if we want, but it only says that we need to find the measure of angle A, which is this one. So the measure of angle A is 180 minus 2 times 72, which is 36 degrees. I don't know that I've ever solved that one exactly like that before, but I just start picking something and calling it X and try to use sups and triangles and anything I know to label the rest. So I don't even think this matches up perfectly with what I did in my hints, but it works. I also saw some of you found all the angles and then checked and made sure that all the triangles made sense, which is always a good idea too. So let me know if you have any questions, and if you want to share any work with me and get feedback, that would be great. Bye.